There's a snake eating a child on one of the most famous badges in football. Nobody talks about it. Millions of fans wear it on their chest every single week, and almost none of them know what they're actually wearing. That's the thing about football crests. You've seen them 1,000 times on shirts, on stadium walls, on your phone screen during match highlights. But you've probably never stopped to ask why a snake is swallowing a person, or why Real Madrid quietly erased a cross from their own badge, or why one of the biggest clubs on earth still has a ship stitched into their emblem for a city that isn't even on the coast. These aren't just logos, they're time capsules. Every line, every color, every strange little symbol was put there for a reason. Sometimes political, sometimes religious, sometimes just plain strange. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a football badge the same way again. Let's start with the snake. If you've ever watched Inter Milan or AC Milan play, you've seen it. A blue serpent, mouth wide open, swallowing a human figure whole. It looks less like a football badge and more like something out of a horror film. The symbol is called the Bichone, literally the big grass snake, and it's centuries older than football itself. It comes from the Visconti family, who ruled Milan back in the Middle Ages. According to legend, one Visconti crusader saw a snake devouring a man on a Saracen banner during the Crusades and adopted the terrifying image as his own family crest. For nearly 700 years, that snake has represented Milan, not football, Milan itself. It's on the city's coat of arms, it's on Alfa Romeo cars, and it ended up woven into the badges of both Milan clubs because the city wanted its two biggest football institutions to carry a piece of its ancient identity. So next time someone asks why there's a snake eating a person on a football crest, you can tell them it's not violence. It's 7 centuries of civic pride. But Milan isn't even the strangest case, because just north of there, in Turin, one of the most iconic clubs in the world went through a rebrand so controversial, fans still argue about it today. In 2017, Juventus did something almost no football club had ever dared to do. They threw away their crest. Gone was the shield. Gone was the bull of Turin. Gone was over a century of visual history. In its place, a single black and white letter J, stripped down, modern, almost corporate. Fans were furious. Pundits called it soulless. Some said it looked more like a tech startup than a football dynasty. But here's what most people missed. Juventus wasn't just selling shirts anymore. They were building a global brand that needed to work on a phone screen the size of your thumb, in a Nike store in Tokyo, on a hoodie in Los Angeles. The old crest, with its tiny bull and intricate shield, disappeared into a blur at small sizes. The new logo didn't. It was a business decision disguised as a design decision. And it worked. Juventus became one of the best-selling football merchandise brands in the world within a few years. Still, something was lost. That bull wasn't random. It represented Turin itself, whose city symbol has been a bull since Roman times. And the black and white stripes? Those came from Notts County, an English club that sent Juventus their old kits back in 1903 because Juve's original pink shirts kept fading in the wash. Yes, one of the most iconic kit designs in football history exists because pink dye wasn't good enough in 1903. Now, if you think Juventus caused controversy, wait until you hear what Real Madrid did with a cross.
Real Madrid's crest carries a royal crown, a nod to the Spanish monarchy, which is exactly why it exists. The club earned the title Real, meaning royal, directly from King Alfonso XIII in 1920. But look closely at the top of that crown today, and something is missing. For nearly a century, a small Christian cross sat above the crown. It had always been there, quietly, as part of the royal symbolism. Then, in 2014, it vanished. First from official communications in the Middle East, later removed more broadly in certain contexts. The club never made a big announcement. There was no press conference. But football journalists noticed, and the story spread fast. Real Madrid appeared to be softening the religious imagery to expand more comfortably into Muslim-majority markets, including a major partnership in the UAE. Real Madrid never fully confirmed the commercial motive, but the timing spoke for itself. This is one of the richest, most watched football clubs on the planet, adjusting a 100-year-old royal symbol for reasons that had nothing to do with football and everything to do with money. It's a strange thought, isn't it? A tiny cross, invisible unless you're looking for it, quietly erased to open doors in new markets. That's the power and the pressure that comes with being a global brand instead of just a football club. Speaking of religion and football colliding, Barcelona's crest tells an even deeper story, one tangled up with a country's entire national identity.
FC Barcelona's badge looks simple at first glance. A shield, some stripes, a ball, a cross. But those stripes are not decoration. They are the senyera, the flag of Catalonia. For decades, Catalonia's language, flag, and culture were suppressed under Francisco Franco's dictatorship in Spain. Catalan symbols were banned in public life. But inside Camp Nou, on the shirts of Barcelona's players, that forbidden flag survived, stitched quietly into a football badge that the regime couldn't easily touch. That's part of why Barcelona still carries the unofficial motto, Més que un club, more than a club. Because for generations of Catalans, this badge wasn't about football at all. It was one of the last places their identity was still allowed to exist in public. And here's the detail almost nobody notices. The letters F and C on Barcelona's crest stand for the English words football club, not the Catalan or Spanish equivalent. Why? Because the sport itself arrived in Spain through British workers and expatriates in the late 1800s, and the club kept that linguistic fingerprint in its name over a century later. A Catalan flag, an English abbreviation, a Spanish city, one badge, three identities colliding. And somehow, it still works. Now let's cross the channel, because England's badges hide their own quiet devastation.